All right, so first and foremost, I want to address that first video, yesterday's video. It was all done in a vast majority of satire. It was, supposed to be funny. Don't take anything that I said or I ever say to heart. Today, I want to really focus on something a little more content appropriate, delve into some actual content about Magic the Gathering, which has been a game for me since about M14, I believe, was right when I broke into the game, and I quit just around the time that Siege Rhino and Little 2-mana Jace was really the deck where they were cramming 4-color good stuff with Bring to Light. Right around that time, that shenanigans, when you could just play 5-color good stuff all crammed into one deck, and you never got punished, and there was no reason not to be doing that, is when a time I just felt like it was time to hang it up, hang the jersey up. We were done. We would move on for a little bit. I sold my entire collection down to the bare bones. I'm left with literally just commons and uncommons from all the sets that I had accumulated, various sets through collecting, through opening up cards. I have so many Theros and Khans of Tarkir commons and uncommons. It's actually quite disgusting and disturbing, but that's a little bit of my background as to where I come into this game. I generally enjoy playing Standard the most. I do draft every Friday because it's just a fresh new way to take a new look at the game. With draft, you always have to sharpen your skills. You always have to be on top of everything and really learn how the phases and the intricacies of combat and everything in the game really works. You have to be really well at that to operate very good as a good drafter. And up until, I believe, recently, I've stumbled quite a lot with the Aether Revolt Kaladesh draft. It is a very difficult draft format, but once you start figuring out what are the go-to commons and uncommons and how it all kind of works, you get going. And the names escape me. I believe some of the best cards in this Aether Revolt specifically is the Chandra's, I believe, Revolution or whatever it is that deals the 4 damage. It's 4 mana, deals 4 damage to target creature and taps a land down. This is a really dirty play. It's a very good card. It's removal in red. That also hinders your opponent's next turn, especially if they're on 2 colors and they're stuck on only one access to one of those certain colors. It's just a great play. And Daring Demolition, I believe, is the name of the other card. The 4 mana black, just destroy anything, unconditional removal spell. Very good in the draft format. So I rank red and black very high. I rank green as a very solid color. Blue, meh. And white, I believe, without a doubt, is probably the worst color to draft with Aether Revolt and Kaladesh. It just seems very weak. So that's just a little bit of my background, where I come with Magic and what I basically do with my Friday nights. I do want to start getting back into some Standard events with it, but for right now, the vast majority of it is just draft. So all the background stuff aside, I did want to talk about the recent banning yesterday, or rather lack thereof banning that we got, an unbanning announcement from Wizards stating that they weren't going to do anything to any of the formats. They were just going to leave Standard alone, leave Modern alone, and I mean, I guess I'm okay with it. Specifically, more so Modern. It's very nice to see Modern very, very healthy right now, and a lot of players feel that Standard sucks right now. It's just not very good. So a lot of players are jumping back into Modern. It's a really good time, too, with the fact that Modern Masters is coming out this Friday. So it's kind of just a really good place to be if you want to get into Modern. Unfortunately, like I said earlier, I sold all my stuff. I sold my fully decked out Jund deck. So I have absolutely nothing for Modern. So looking forward to start drafting Modern Masters. Try and get some cards, try and get back into that, pull some sort of foil expensive card so I can just hawk it and get a couple of the regular copies, Foil Lily, obviously, I'd love to get that so I could just hawk her, pick up a couple lilies, regular lilies, or even, just a regular lily and maybe some fetches with it. But that's basically where I am with Modern. I do like the format. I wish I could be playing it. I just sold all the stuff and I don't have, $1,000 to just dump into a deck to just get right back into it from scratch. So I'm kind of stuck. I kind of started buying into Standard a little because it's easier to break into money-wise for me, and there's just more of a reason to play Standard more so than Modern. I'm not going to be going out and doing as many Modern events as I will be doing, our PPTQs, events like that. More Standard events are going to happen for me. I want to try and get to some Grand Prix. Those things are going to happen more so than any sort of Modern events for me. So as fun and as much as I love Modern, it's kind of on the back burner, but I do want to start breaking into it slowly. And my main focus right now is going to be on Standard, which is what I wanted to talk about in this particular video. And that's the fact that we have our pillars defined here. And the third one is kind of open. But it's very obviously who's the king on top, and that's Mardu Vehicles. It's a very oppressive deck. It's very good. It's the deck to go into a tournament and expect to try and beat. The other pillar that's up there is obviously the 4-color Saheeli. And the third pillar we kind of have right now is this kind of limbo Brewers area, or maybe a little bit of green-black. And that's where I'm going to talk about today. And maybe green-black is dead, and I'm just trying to, what's the expression, beat a dead horse or whatever. I think that green-black can survive. It can make a resurgence. It just needs help. And what it needs help from is a third color. And there's a lot of lists out there that add the red. They try playing the Jund, and believe me, I love Jund. Jund is my number one favorite color combination in this game, period, hands down, no question about it. However, I think in this Standard, as much as I want to be playing Jund, your reasons to play Jund, or your reasons to add red to the green-black shell, would be what? Unlicensed Disintegration, Chandra, things of that nature, Heart of Kiran. And you're basically just playing a worse version of Mardu Vehicles. Everything that you're doing in that Jund shell, Mardu just does better, hands down, with the Unlicensed Disintegrations and Chandras and things of those nature. Mardu just does better. I don't even believe Mardu plays Chandra, actually. I think Chandra is more so in the Jeskai or Saheeli combo decks. But, yeah, everything that you want to be doing in Jund, Mardu just does better. I mean, why splash when you have the black-red? Why splash the green or go into green when you would just go into white, because it's just exponentially better? So, that being said, I think we're going to not talk about Jund being the option to try and revive green-black. Another color, well, obviously that leaves only 2 colors left, which is blue and white, which I think are both viable, good options. Now, I don't like blue as a color too much, so I try and stay away from it as much as I possibly can. That doesn't mean I ignore blue, but I just tend not to lean towards it. Everyone has their comfort zone and things that they always lean towards, and how they enjoy playing the game. But what blue does offer in that green-black shell, you have to come at Mardu Vehicles and Saheeli Rai, the Saheeli copycat decks, at an angle that green-black just doesn't currently have a good enough answer for, and that's getting rid of Planeswalkers in instant style removal, which Standard itself is just lacking, and Wizards realizes that, and I hope that they make good on the attempt to go back to having good enough answers, or really good answers in Standard, because that's one thing that'll shake it up. It won't leave it this stale. Having the answers are, I think, more beneficial than they are detrimental to the format. So, that being said, when you have green-black and you're splashing the blue, you're looking at cards like Negate. Negate would be a really good reason to want to go into the blue, because you'd be able to, negate Gideon's, negate Heart of Kiran's, negate from Saheeli Rai itself. You'd be able to negate the Planeswalker. I think that would be probably your best bring-in by going into blue would definitely be negate, and you would definitely be running it in the main board. You get a lot of options. You get a lot of interesting options in the sideboard. I mean, it depends on how deep you really want that blue to go. I mean, do you go black, green, splash blue? Do you go blue, black, splash green? But that just kind of doesn't make sense. You know, why would you be doing that? But, you know, you could play Baral's Expertise, the bounce card for mirror matches. You always have to watch out for that as a green-black deck. That card is just, in 9 times out of 10, just an auto lose. You just, if they get to 5 mana and they cast that on you, they're generally just going to be way too far ahead for you to try and build that board state back up and come back from that. So, that being said, I'm going to shy away from the blue, although it is a viable option. I have considered it to try and resurge this green-black, try and give it back some life under its wings here. But I think the color combination that might work, that might make green-black good again, hashtag make green-black good again, is white. Going into Abzan with it. Now, what you would specifically be targeting and why you would really want the white splash, you could go for Gideon, obviously, number one, but being that I'm just getting back into it right now, and I know Gideon's going to be leaving the standard rotation pretty soon. Fall, so, I mean, I don't know, in terms of Magic, that's really not that soon, but I just don't want to invest the money into Gideon's. You could definitely make the argument, though, to want to play him in green, black, white. But the card that I would really focus on and really want white in the green, black deck for is Anguished Unmaking. That card, I think, is really, really good. Just exile target permanent at instant speed. Yeah, you do eat 3 to the face, which is a very big drawback. But again, having that instant speed answer is just so important to planeswalkers. And I can't think what's the name of Ruinous Path is the card I'm thinking of. It's too not good at sorcery speed. It doesn't do the job. It's not good enough. So you definitely want to go into white for Anguished Undermaking. Another card that you would definitely want to be playing in a junk shell would be Thalia. Thalia is your protection against 4-color Saheeli. You would also be bringing in that 1 mana enchantment, whatever the name of it is, that does basically the same effect of Thalia. It's just it dodges removal a little easier. So you don't just auto lose to the combo, because green-black does have a hard time going up against 4-color combo. It is very, very tricky. Yeah, you would want to go into the white for Anguished Unmaking, Thalia. The arguments are for Gideon, because if you have access to play Gideon, why wouldn't you play Gideon? And the enchantment in the sideboard. And another card that I think is just really good, just underplayed, and I wouldn't play it more than a one-of by any means whatsoever, because the card's not, amazing. It's not a complete, absolute blowout. But I just think it's a good Magic card, and it's trying to find a home, and it hasn't really got one, and that would be Sorin. I think Sorin, it would be a fantastic inclusion in a black-green shell splashing the white. So that's basically where I'm at with trying to resurge the green-black in Standard. And like I said before, maybe it's just kind of beating a dead horse, and maybe the deck's just not good enough anymore, and it's either jump on the Mardu train or jump on 4-color. And then, of course, obviously everyone does like to brew, and you do want to brew, but I wouldn't feel comfortable taking something along those lines to something like a PPTQ or something where you expect to do really well, because unless you're a professional Magic player and you're a pro player, you're probably just not going to do really well with them. But another deck that is on the radar is the Temur Dynavolt Tower deck. That's that's been on the radar, that's floating around there. A lot of people are trying to make that work. So, if decks like that in Aetherworks Marvel, so if decks like that start becoming more popular, again, you look back to Anguished Unmaking. That's one way to answer those artifacts at instant speed. It's a unconditional remove target permanent from the game, essentially. Obviously, the condition is you have to have more than 3 life, or you just can't do it. So, just getting rid of permanent period is a really strong card. So that's what I'm going to be brewing with. That's what I'm going to try and make work, is a green-black shell with a little bit of white in it. And again, I'm probably going to pass on the Gideons because I just don't want to invest the money. And I'll see how that plays out. You know, I'll play some test games with it. I'll brew around with it, and I'll let you know what I thought of it after getting some games under my belt with it. I just wanted to attack, you know, standard where it is right now and see if there's anything new we can kind of come up with. But you know, when you only have X amount of cards in a format, everyone's kind of already mulled over all the possibilities and all the ideas. So I'm sure other people have had this idea, and I'm sure they've brought it to tournaments and probably just not done well with it. So who knows? You know, either it could be the next Mardu Vehicles, which obviously I highly doubt, or it's just going to be, you know, meh, kind of just average. So we'll see how that plays out. I'll try and get some footage of some sort of games on here. I do have last Friday's draft recorded that I am working on editing and putting up, so stay tuned for that. Aether Revolt draft from last week is definitely coming up soon, and as soon as I possibly can this Friday, I will be recording Modern Masters draft, and I will get that up as fast as I possibly can. So stay tuned. If you're new to the channel, please go ahead, subscribe, like this video, and stay around for more, because there's a lot of magic coming.